idea the amount of ignorant mess we're about to get into right now.
Sit your $5 ass down before I make.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Black on Black Cinema. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
And special guest, Deacon.
Hey.
All right, guys, we're back. Deacon, thank you for joining us yet again.
You're welcome, I suppose. I mean, I know y'all ratings were dropping for a little bit down left.
Oh, is that what it was?
Negotiations worked out. I figured I'd, grace with my presence again.
Oh, do we hit your per diem?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's keep the party going.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what all that weird shit is in your rider?
Yeah, a bunch.
Just a bunch of blow-up dolls for no reason?
Yeah, no, actually, there's a reason. We'll discuss that later. Carry on.
Deacon is the only one of Patra's background dancers that ever truly made it. Is that right?
I guess you could say that. No,
Yeah.
I've gone on to other things.
After the
Super Cat,
after the pull up to my bumper video,
Randy Watson,
Yeah. Hype shit. All right, guys, we're back. This is episode 167, Green Book. I am sad to know that Terrence was still sick and could not make this episode because he had a few words, most of them being rather positive to the Oscar award winning film.
I mean, I think he said it was his favorite film of 2018.
I would argue he was still saying that in 2019, saying, quote, "Nothing is better than watching a white man finally teach a nigger how to eat chicken." That's a direct quote from Terrence, which is odd, knowing Terrence, but that's what he said. He's like, Tony Lip is my favorite cinematic character. Again, very odd. So, yeah, this obviously is the Oscar award-winning film, which is we'll get into. But this is starring Viggo Mortensen, Mahershala Ali, as Tony Lip Villalonga and Dr. Don Shirley, respectively. This is loosely based on true events.
It opens up by saying it's inspired by.
Yeah.
So that means we're going to take a lot of goddamn liberties.
Yeah, that
seems to be
exactly
the thing.
what that means.
When I first saw this, there were some things that people were saying, well, were completely not true according to Dr. Don Shirley's family. And some things were like sort of kind of backed up or what have you. The big one about like the thing at the YMCA didn't happen. I'm like, okay, I get his family's denying that, but I can understand why they would deny that. So I'm not really buying that as necessarily being made up.
All right.
So I would just say that amongst the other things in this movie that are not particularly that accurate.
Yeah. They show a picture of the real Don Shirley in one of the flamboyant outfits that Mahershala Ali wears. Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, like that dude was over the top.
Yeah, it happened.
And like he was just like a very hoity-toity kind of guy, and like
that's fine.
It is what it is. Like I'm not mad at him for that. He's a virtuoso.
Yeah, he's very particular how he have his underwear folded.
Yeah, it's like not your fucking butler. So I had seen this movie before. This is my second time watching this. Micah, you had not seen it. What did you think of this?
This film is it is the direction fine. This film lives and dies by the acting between Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali and their relationship. And they do a very, very good job. Mahershala Ali won the Oscar that year for Best Supporting Actor. So their acting is stellar. There's nothing offensive about this movie on a production level, other than the fact that, some of the stories might not have been real. I did not care for this movie. I really didn't. It's fine. It's a fine movie. Do I think it should have won the Oscar for Best Picture in the same year that A Star Is Born was released?
Let me finish your sentence. Yes. No, not at all.
No. I didn't actively hate this movie, but a lot of it got on my nerves. And this movie just screams of not having, not only did they not consult the family of Dr. Shirley, I don't think they consulted any black person ever.
Well, there are black people on set
during the making of this movie. I think they were just told to say what this big meatball wants you to say,
Right.
and it feels like racism through the eyes of well-meaning white people, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but I feel like there's something wrong with it.
Okay.
So this movie is fine. I 100% see how white people loved it because they can jive with that message, and it is ultimately a message that everyone should be down with, and it is presented in a way that is palatable to them. I 100% can understand how other people, black people specifically, may not have enjoyed this film because of the way that the message was delivered. It was like bringing over a plate with a what do you call those things? Like a
Hors d'oeuvres?
no, the thing that sits on top of the plate of hors d'oeuvres. Right?
Yeah, I know
it's like a cloister or something like that. I can't remember. It's like bringing that over to black people, right? And then lifting it up. And when you see one of those things, you expect like something fancy, right? You lift one of those up, and it's a Popeye's fried chicken sandwich.
No, but that literally happens in the movie.
Exactly.
Like it literally happens in the movie.
Exactly.
But
and
you know
that is the feeling of that scene is the feeling that I had with Don Shirley's face during that scene is the feeling that I had watching this entire movie.
Yeah, but that chicken did look good though.
I mean, right. And this is a good movie. But
it's fine.
yeah, it's fine.
It's not what you would have expected from it being considered the best movie of the year.
Right. And it's not what I would have expected from a film called Green Book. The title doesn't make any sense. They reference the Negro Motorist Green Book.
Maybe.
Once
Right. Like they reference it and tell you what it is, and then they just cut to like a couple of quick shots of it. Like if you're going to call this thing Green Book, it should be about the Green Book. It should be about
it should have been right. It should have been like
of the book.
Right, like from my perspective on that specific thing, like it would have been interesting to have a voiceover of Mahershala or Viggo Mortensen. I'm fine with either one. Reading out of the Green Book, like when you come to this town, you want to stay at X, Y, and Z place, and then like the reality of what that looks like.
And actually had them delve into it, those spots.
Right, like that would have made sense, but like they didn't do that at all.
No,
it's quite strange. Deacon, what did you think?
This is my first time seeing it. Of course, I've heard some things. Thanks, Terrence. It's my first time seeing it. It's fine. It's a decent movie. Middle of the road, paid by numbers. You know, hey, I'm black, you're white. You know, we'll find our human commonalities and come together and start to change, the world by one person at a time type of everybody feel good type shit. So I'm not even surprised. So in that respect, it's decent. It did everything I expected it to do. I wasn't necessarily offended by anything that kind of stood out to me as far as that. The acting wise was decent. Mahershala and Viggo did very well, especially Mahershala. I think he did some good things, especially coming off of, I guess, Cottonmouth at that point. As far as what most people had kind of known him for.
Yeah, that's right.
To kind of do something kind of different. But yeah, decent movie. I give it like a okay, good.
Okay.
I'll watch it again. Fold some clothes with it, but
right.
I never need to see this movie again.
Yeah.
I never need to see it again.
But I put it like this: I wouldn't put it on. If it's on, all right, fuck it.
I feel like I see this movie a lot, and I probably don't, but I feel like I do.
Yeah, probably do.
And I don't know.
So for me, again, this is my second time seeing the film. The first time I saw it, like I am definitely, I will happily admit, I am a sucker for movies that point to the human condition and try to do better, right? Like, hey, we're all human beings here. Let's not be dickheads. Here's history, in quotes. Here's history. How do we move past this? Because I do think, I truly believe this, that racism and things like that are fixed on an individual level. I don't think you fix it on a mass level. Like, you're not just going to convince all white people to not be shitheads. Like, you're just not. And you're not going to teach all black people to fucking maybe trust white people in what they say. You're just not going to. There's no magic wand for that. They get those things, those relationships get repaired one at a time. And you go, all right, well, that guy's all right.
Right.
Oh, that guy's all right. And then you start to slowly extrapolate out. That is how we learn, right? We all learn generally on individual levels. So I am a sucker for those kind of messages. So the message in and of itself, I appreciate. How it is delivered is a different conversation altogether. It is, like you said, it is so paint by numbers. It is so, like, just down the line. The two performances of the stars, Mahershala Ali and Viggo Mortensen, are exceptional. Like, I thought they were really good. I thought Mahershala Ali definitely deserved the Oscar. And I was fine that Viggo Mortensen was nominated. I don't think he won that year. But I was fine with him also being nominated. I know people have a tendency to look at characters that they don't like the characters versus how the characters are portrayed. And yeah, Tony Lip is an asshole. Like, he is. He's supposed to be an ignorant, fucking giant walking, meatball sub asshole, and he is. But I thought Mortensen's performance was really great, considering that he is nothing like that person in reality. He isn't. So, I thought those performances were really great, and I thought their interactions were good. There's a couple of moments that it sort of elevates when Mahershala Ali kind of really takes over scenes. And really kind of explains, like, this is what's going on. Let me explain to you, you dumb fucking Italian stereotype, what the real world is like. And I appreciated those moments because I thought they were needed. Everything else surrounding it, it's so general bullshit. And I'm not surprised that it was nominated because it allows white people to feel good, to sort of tacitly address racism. It all gets solved. It all gets wrapped up in the bow at the end, and all the racist Italians at the end are all fine. Or, the racist Italians in the beginning are all fine at the end.
Wow, it was really bad back then.
Yeah,
like, it's not bad like that now.
Like, they were gone for 2 months.
Right.
Like, nigga, they didn't want to have 2 glasses used by black repairmen.
Viggo Mortensen literally threw them in the garbage.
I'm surprised they smashed them, but that's another story.
And look, I can give the movie the benefit of the doubt. Like, maybe Viggo Mortensen's character did really change in those 2 months. I don't know how you can be on this planet for half a century and just change in 2 months. But maybe he did, right? Maybe he did.
But there are real world stories of people.
Sure, absolutely. I'll give the movie the benefit of the doubt. What I won't is just like
everyone else.
The family was just like, "Hey, come on in here, vagaboo, goomba, eggplant."
Right? No, they would not have been that way at all.
I don't feel like they I feel like they would have pulled Tony aside and say, "Hey, what do you got to do, vagabond over here? What is he doing in our house?
Fucking kill him, right?
Right? Like, you trying to tell me that the father who only spoke Italian,
right? That
was cool with this shit?
Nah, yo.
I don't want to.
He didn't want to repairman in the goddamn house,
right? Like,
that's an Italian job.
Come on,
it's an Italian.
It is.
Like the movie with the little cars. Hey,
we're horrible.
I mean, but those kind of moments, I'm like, those are eye-rolling moments. Like, they're super annoying.
It's over. Like, what's heavy-handed.
Yeah, it's very ham-fisted and things like that. But again, there are moments of, like, even showing racism that feel very ham-fisted, but I'm like, yeah, but that probably did happen, right? Yeah. Oh, you can't use this toilet, you got to use the outhouse. I'm like, because racism is ham-handed 9 times out of 10, right? It's dumb. It's done by idiots. So yeah, those parts I didn't have a problem with. But I don't like the wrapped up in a bow real quick kind of things. Yeah. Like, that's not what reality is. Like, and it's silly. And it does a disservice to shit that Don Shirley, I'm sure, endured. It actually also does disservice to Tony Lip, right? Like, that's not his life. So don't try to sugarcoat it to make white people feel good.
Right.
But that's why it won, right? Because, again, it tacitly addresses racism and then it moves on. One argument that I like, and I'm willing to listen to a lot of arguments against this movie. One argument that I don't buy that really pisses me off is that people are like, this is a white savior movie.
No, it ain't.
Like, he was hired as a bodyguard. Like, Yeah. Have you seen Don Shirley? He's a very fanciful black man in the South playing the piano. Yeah, I want somebody who can crack heads too. Like, I'm sorry, not just because a white person is physically saving a black person doesn't make it a white savior movement. That is a cheap and to me, it's a very cheap way of.
But that's what we're getting to right now. It's like
I hate
it's a buzzword. A lot of people.
Right.
We're at the point now where people get to make up their own definitions for words. And nobody checks nobody on it. So that's why you're going to see white savior morph into some nonsense. It's going to get worse.
Right. Like I was just kind of like, come on, that's not what this is. And there are some people had a problem with the cover of the photo. They're like, this is just a reverse Driving Miss Daisy. I'm like, yeah, the rich in charge person's in the back. Okay. But again, he was his driver. I'm not sure. Would you want him to sit in the front?
Like to jump off switch movies for a quick second. I remember when Black Panther came out. Everybody's loving it. Oh, a few jackasses. Yeah, I was liking it, but why the guy had the white savior in there? White savior doing what?
He shot down 2 planes at the end?
What, the white guy? What? Because he shot down shit with the direction coming from Shuri?
Yeah. Like
telling him how to do shit?
Right, he was like kind of incompetent in that world.
Yeah, well,
that was the whole point.
They could do without having him in a movie. I'm like, it's not
that serious.
Yeah, it really
it's
ain't.
not that serious.
But anyway.
What are your thoughts on that whole white savior thing?
Well, I'm looking at the definition of white savior narrative in film. This trope appears in an array of genres of films in American cinema wherein a white protagonist is portrayed as a messianic figure who often learns something about him or herself in the course of rescuing non-white characters from their plight. I mean,
he's not a messianic figure at all.
No, he's not a messianic figure. I understand what people are trying to say with the white savior thing. Even on 2 levels, right? Like the literal level of him saving Don Shirley from being, further assaulted at that bar, right?
Okay, let's say that story is true. Should they not have shown it?
That's my next argument. Now, it's one thing to make it white savior if it's a made up narrative,
right?
But this actually, if this actually happened in their relationship in that 2 months time. It's not a white savior. You're telling the goddamn story.
And that's the thing. We don't know because, the family says one thing and the Shirley family says one thing and the Villalonga family says another. And so I get the white savior. I understand the white savior argument from that point. And I think I can kind of piece together the white savior argument in a sense that, you have to this character is teaching in a scene where this character is teaching the black character how to act stereotypically black, but like at the same time, no, they are symbiotic,
right? That's how I saw it.
Yeah,
that's how I saw it. And actually, it's more Don Shirley teaching him than anything else.
To not be a thug hooligan, to
be an adult.
Yeah, he's teaching him how to grow up, and it's like that scene in Demolition Man when John Spartan was trying to bring together the 2 factions, right? He's like, you're a little dirty, you a lot cleaner, and I don't know, figure it out, right?
Right.
Like that's what's
Please don't
going
ever
on.
Quote John Spartan as a moral bridging the moral divide.
That movie is about one man preventing an Orwellian future from existing. That is a genius movie. I will not hear anything else of it.
Y'all get together, y'all do the hunka chunka.
Exactly. Like, come on, yo, that is a genius movie. But yeah, like, Michael, watch that movie when I go home.
And for me, like with the whole Dr. Don Shirley. It was that he was teaching him how to be black. Yeah, he tried to teach him how to be black based on his own myopic perception of what blackness was.
That is correct.
Only thing Shirley took from that relationship was, let me open up a little bit more. I was so insular, but he had reason to be insular. But he didn't teach him anything. It's not a savior situation.
Right.
Exactly.
Look.
Like, he didn't teach him how to play jazz piano, guys.
Right.
The guy's a savant. Like, come on.
He was like, oh, this? Beep. like, yeah, he's a savant. And look, God love Terrence, but he doesn't teach him how to eat fried chicken either. Like,
no, he doesn't.
No, he was just like,
he's like, hey, try this.
Try it. Like, he wasn't
He
like,
doesn't say, all right, pull the blooding off and then eat that.
yeah, because then that would have been like, all right,
They see that black strip right there? That's where you stop. That's one.
See that you don't want to eat the cartilage there. You don't want to eat the cartilage.
Yeah,
in my
see, that's
chip.
how I know he white.
Straight up. When I see that fucking black shit. Next one.
You're too far. That's bone marrow. You ain't too far.
No, you hit it. You finally got there. Right?
Take that biscuit and you sop that up right there, man.
And what if the biscuit's dry? Well, it is KFC. Yeah, so I do think people have taken the sort of white savior argument. I personally think a little too far in this particular movie. But that being said, if someone is a bodyguard, yeah, that's what they're there for.
Yeah,
that's just what they're there for. But to your point, I think you're correct too. All right, so let's jump into this film. It's 1962. New York bouncer Frank Tony Lip Villalonga, which apparently is really hard for people to pronounce,
Tony,
is working at the Copacabana nightclub in the working class neighborhood, the Bronx. The club is then closed for renovations, leaving Tony without a job. So, like in this scene, we see Tony is, he's kind of like a body man, and there's a fight that starts, and he breaks it up, throws a guy out, beats the brakes off of this dude. A big time mobster comes into the club. He takes his hat off. He gives his hat and his coat to the coat check girl. Tony clips the hat. He gives her a couple bucks. And he's like, hey, give me that guy's hat. He's like, I got it. Don't worry about it. And he holds the guy's hat. The guy later comes back. He's flipping out. And then he goes and returns it to him later to basically buy into his good graces, which was a genius move.
I was about to say, renovations my ass. No, they closed that bitch down because dude's about to air that bitch out over that hat.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Like, yeah, no, y'all need to close this club. I would shoot everybody in this one.
I get it. I like hats. I get it.
Yeah, you ready to go to war? You ready to blow up the Copacabana over this shit?
Yeah.
Somebody take the cane, so your Kango's going to be on.
It was a nice hat. Depends on the Kango, I got a ton of them things, and they're just like floppy frisbees at this point. But some of them are really nice.
Sometimes you got to kill them all.
Hey, that's my good shit.
So we see the next day, Tony comes home. He wakes up with 5 Italian men in his house yelling about watching Roger Maris play baseball.
Baseball is not that exciting. I like watching baseball.
No, these white people
it's not that goddamn exciting.
I mean, look, when you got two channels,
shit,
and nothing else to do.
We got.
Oh wait, this apartment is tight. I mean, because the kids are sleeping in the same room as mom and dad.
Yeah,
it's rough.
Hey, but they're living the dream in the Bronx, as all white people have done.
It's good.
They're back.
Level. Shit.
And so Tony's like, he wakes up and he's like, yo, what the fuck are y'all yelling for? Like, why are you in my house? And that's like his brother-in-law, his dad, and some other people. And they're like, hey, gabagool, blah, 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 blah. We're here to keep your wife Dolores company. And he looks over and he's got 2 black repairmen are in his house working in his house. And his wife, who's like a reasonable human being, seemingly gives them water, and in
the most heavy-handed of shots, right? Like
it is pretty heavy-handed.
Like you see these guys, you see a close-up of these big black lips drinking from this water, this glass, right? And like it's like, all right, like I get it. He's gonna be disgusted by it. He's gonna want to throw it away or whatever. Like it's just heavy-handed.
And the father's called them 2 black pieces of coal.
Yeah. The first time this is not the first time I've heard eggplant used. To describe
they drop bouillon a lot.
Yeah, and which is funny to me now. Like it's come full circle that the eggplant emoji on fucking your phone means fucking big black cock. So.
Thanks, Italians.
Hey.
Yeah, white people are weird in this movie. Like, this movie proves
the racism is just so casual, too.
Yo, the racism from Tony Lip, he's got some fucking lines that, look, again, I saw this movie almost as a comedy because some of the lines are so fucking ridiculous. Like, at one point, he's like, oh, you don't want to fucking hire me? Yeah, I'll go down south, I'll crack some heads, whatever. He was like, or you could just hire that chick outside. I was like, yo, what the fuck? like, all right. And then the next thing, he's in the bar with an Asian bartender. He's like, hey, this guy's, he's all right. And that Asian guy yelled at a white man. I was like, that is not true. That did not happen. He had to grab that Asian dude and beat the brakes off of him. Took all his beer. Knock it off. So yeah, Tony's out of money. He's like, all right. So he throws the cups away. And again, that's a very heavy-handed sort of situation. So then the next day,
he's so racist. He doesn't even want to keep the glasses that the black people drink.
You knew that was going to happen.
Of course.
And the whole family are just raging Italian stereotypes.
I mean,
it's not even subtle.
I thought this was a Spike Lee movie.
Yeah, no, the level of hatred for Italian Americans is from black people is real. Yeah, no, because they were barely considered white people at that time, right? So,
like, we'll get into that later.
Yeah, they just got into being white,
right?
So then they're still treating us like shit. I'm like, nigga, y'all, where we at? What the fuck? Get out of here. So Tony trying to make some money. He goes down to a local diner and he bets this guy who says that he's 260 pounds. I'm not fucking buying it.
It's your ass cheeks is 250 pounds.
Like, yo, you are easily Humpty Dumpty. You are easily 325.
He's the svelte 160.
Then he's got a girdle on, 6 of them. Like, knock it off. So they have a hot dog eating contest for $50. Who can eat the most hot dogs? This big dude said that he ate 18 hot dogs in one sitting, and they were like,
with
all right.
toppings.
Yeah, their bet is who can eat the most hot dogs in 1 hour with toppings. This nigga is eating hot dogs with chili on them. Oh, come on, man.
How many could you knock out?
No,
6.
I'm not a glutton, yo.
5, 6.
I can't with bread.
5, 6 at the top line, and I would feel horrible.
I think I could probably knock out about 5 too.
I know if you say 10, I was like, you wildin'.
No, you call me my 20s? Yeah, my burn through them bitches. But yeah, this age, nah. It's like, this
nigga ate like 26 hot dogs. And apparently that is a real story.
Yeah, and a big fat Italian guy is capable of eating a bunch of food. Yeah, I believe that.
26 hot dogs is insane.
Viggo Mortensen, somebody asked him what he did to put on weight, and he was just like, I just ate a lot of Italian food. Like a lot of pizza. Because it's all bread. Yeah. It's all meat and bread.
Yeah. Hey,
so good, though. Good God.
I mean, it is.
Yeah, Italian food.
What's your favorite Italian dish?
Lasagna.
Damn, you want to think about it?
It's my favorite food.
Right in. Right in.
I mean, I love lasagna. I don't know what my favorite is. I'd have to think about that. I don't know.
Yeah, I love good Alfredo.
See, I can't eat Alfredo because my sister cooks and she's very heavy-handed with her ingredients. And she would make Alfredo and it would just be drenched in sauce. And
no, it's too much.
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah,
it's too much. It's too much, yo.
I don't know. Probably like yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I'm just gonna go with the black answer: macaroni and cheese.
Yo, that's Italian?
No,
it's a type of Italian.
Now, who cooked the macaroni and the cheese?
God damn it! It's a real movie. So Tony gets a call. Tony gets a call about a job being a driver. So he heads down to the address given, and it's at Carnegie Hall. And he goes and he's applying for this driver's job, and that's where he meets Dr. Don Shirley, played by Mahershala Ali, who is literally a black man sitting on a throne looking down on him, which I personally appreciated.
I mean, we do need more scenes of that.
He came out that bitch like Moses. Yo, this is dope.
Yeah. So I did appreciate that. I was like, all right, I see you. Look, I personally think he stole every single scene he was in.
Mahershala?
Yes. Every single scene he was in, I think he stole. He's a commanding voice, a commanding presence. He was just great. And that's not to say that Viggo Mortensen wasn't equally as good. He was. But I just thought Mahershala Ali elevated this movie further than it. If it was just any black actor, like just some generic black actor, there's no way this movie would have been considered worth a damn.
So no Chris Rock?
I'd like to see it, but no, I can't imagine Chris Rock yelling the whole time.
You really gave me chicken.
So I'm on IMDb trivia, right?
Well,
this piece of trivia, and look, it's IMDb trivia. I don't know how true it is, all right? They don't cite their sources on IMDb trivia, but if this is true, this is this movie in a nutshell. Okay. On November 7th, 2018, during a promotional panel discussion, Mortensen said the word nigger. He prefaced the sentence with, "I don't like saying this word," and went on to compare dialogue, quote, "that's no longer common in conversation," end quote, to the period in which the film is set. Mortensen apologized the next day, saying that, quote, "my intention was to speak strongly against racism," and that he was, quote, "very sorry that I did use the full word last night and will not utter it again." This is well-meaning white people not really understanding the effect of racism and just kind of wielding it like as if they are entitled to, well, no, I'm speaking against it. So
Do you think there's ever a situation where they can say it, like in an academic situation?
Is that context basically with the word nigga?
I mean, sure, but there's also a being polite, right? Like if you're quoting something, then you can be polite. We know a redhead who doesn't like the G word. It offends him, right? I wouldn't say it when I talking to him or talking in a sentence about him, or around, him. I will refer to it as the G word because I know he doesn't like it.
Which is weird because he uses the hard R N word all the time.
Because I know that it bothers him.
He does not. I'm just joking.
I know that it bothers him, so I'm not going to do it.
Right.
Whereas some of our friends might quote, I don't know, Kanye lyrics or some shit.
Right.
And just be like, "Niggers in Paris." I'm quoting the word. "Niggers in Paris, guys. Niggers in Paris." Like, and it's like, all right, I know.
Like, yo, the name of that song is not a hard R, dog.
Right, like it's not like no, it's not.
Please.
like you can be polite. People know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow did that shit.
Yeah, she was like, "Yo, I love this song.
I love Niggers in Paris."
And it was like,
yo, calm down, goop.
Yeah, I agree. She thought she could just slide that one in. People were like, they got all the way in her ass over that. I was yeah, that's fair. Yeah, no, absolutely. Or like, don't use words like niggardly. Just don't.
Yeah,
I know it doesn't mean that, but don't.
Right.
It's 2020. Right. The word cheap is fine. We get to say niggardly. You don't get to say niggardly. You get to say N-wordly. You can't say niggardly.
Like for me,
there was a presidential candidate who used that word. A little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
Oh. Yep. I was like, really? Is that how they do up there?
Like for me, I get context.
It's almost in Canada, my nigga. What are you doing?
I get context in certain situations. Academic type stuff. No, if you're talking about the shit, you're just talking about it. I can, for me, not everybody else, I can separate.
I'm
you
more like
calling
that.
me a nigga, and you're saying, yo, a racial slur used by racists back then, nigga, blah, blah, blah. You're talking about it.
Right.
As far as music wise, look, do knock yourself out, do what the fuck you want amongst yourself and others like you.
Yeah.
However, I mean, other people may not be as forgiving as I may be, so you might want to be careful when you start spouting off your lyrics.
Yeah, well, make sure you know where you are in mixed company.
You say what you
Exactly,
want,
yeah.
but you take your life into your own hands when you say
Exactly.
you say certain shit.
Yeah, I've seen white guys hanging out with other white dudes and shit, like calling each other, "Yo, my nigga," I'm like, cool. Hey, all right, that's you. First off, you sound stupid. You look stupid. Knock yourself out. However, just make sure you're not going to say this shit to me, even though I understand you may be trying to say it as in friendly.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
That's my line. Nah, we're not doing that.
Nope, not
If
never.
you have black friends that accept that, cool. Knock
That's
yourself
all-
out.
yeah, that's
I'm not
on you.
going to regulate that friendship. I don't give a fuck. But nah, you don't. Yo, dang, my nigga, no. Oh wait, man.
No, I'm not.
Matter of fact, there's a rap battle video, a clip where a white guy and a black dude is having a freestyle battle, and the white dude says "nigga." The way the line goes, they stand there face to face, going blah blah blah. White guys actually dropping some balls on him, like, yo, you kind of dope. He says, yeah. They say I can't say the N word, but let me tell you something, my nigga. Bop, nigga stole him.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look, I get it. I get it.
Damn.
That's really funny. They said I couldn't say it. Yeah, they still say that. Why you thought that was... It would have been clever to be like, they say I can't say that, and I'm not going to, and continue rapping. Yeah, well, yeah. Again, You can say whatever you want.
You can say whatever you want, but if you know it bothers people and you say it anyway,
You're an asshole.
That tells me something about you.
Yep.
And
It's a very privileged perspective.
yep.
Yeah, it's a very privileged perspective. All right, so let's jump ahead a little bit. So he does the interview with Dr. Don Shirley, Tony Lip does, and basically they're just like, he's like, look, I'm not going to be your fucking butler. I'll drive you, but I'm not doing anything else. And Don Shirley's like, look, this is what I need. Basically, I need you to press my pants and all this other shit. And so Tony's like, yeah, you know, good luck finding somebody else. And basically he says, look, you've been recommended by multiple people. I'm going to the deep south. I'm going to need somebody like you. And he's just like, nah, fuck off. So he bounces. Then the next day, Dr. Shirley calls and talks to Dolores, Tony's wife, and says, is it cool if I take your husband away for 2 months?
Picture woo.
And she was like, yeah, get this nigga out of here. Like, Tyler's smelling his hot dog breath.
How about some quiet time, Tony?
Yeah, like, just shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. And so he agrees to do the job because he's being paid $125 a week plus expenses. So, hey, that's pretty good money.
Yeah, back then, hell yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it. So he gets a car from the company, a nice new Cadillac, and he goes to pick up Dr. Shirley. When he goes to Carnegie Hall, he meets the other two guys in Dr. Shirley's trio, a bassist and an oboe player. And so they pop up every once in a while. Hey, one thing that really drove me crazy in the controversy of this movie is people were like, Mahershala Ali was, what did they say? Like, he was barely in the movie? I was like, huh? Did you see the movie? Like, I was like, besides the first 10 minutes of the movie, which was about Tony, he's in every scene.
I mean, the movie is ultimately...
It's told from Tony's perspective.
Yeah, it's told from Tony's perspective, and I think that's what's bothering people. That,
right,
you know, it's a movie about race,
and it's not told from a black
it's not told from a black perspective. It's told from an ignorant white person's perspective, and that person has to be enlightened. Yeah.
I mean, look, it's a different choice. I mean, obviously, Tony Lip's son is the one who directed this.
Yeah, who wrote it.
Or who wrote it, rather, right. So, I mean, yeah, of course he's going to pick his dad's side. I'm not even really mad about that. But to call him like a side, they called him a side character. I was like, no, the two guys in the band, in the trio, those are side characters.
Yeah.
They're in the movie like...
Because you don't know their names.
Like, I don't remember their names.
Exactly.
Right?
Kraut.
Yeah.
All right. Tony called him a kraut.
Can't trust
that German.
So they all get on the road. So at one point, they give Tony gets a copy of the Green Book, a guide for African Americans travelers to, quote, find establishments that will actually serve them. They begin their tour in the Midwest before eventually heading further south. Tony and Don initially clash, as Don Shirley is disgusted by Tony's habits like smoking and talking too much, while Tony resents being asked to act with more refinement, where he's like, you literally talk like a fucking moron. And so like they stop, they make a couple of stops, and actually Tony starts to get like really impressed by Dr. Don Shirley's piano playing. Like he actually realizes he's the virtuoso and how good he is. They stop at one diner at one point, and again, this is why I think it's just a comedy, because like once the road trip starts, it's just comedy beat after comedy beat after comedy beat. Mahershala Ali just delivers just deadpan lines that are so fucking good. They're at the diner and he's like, what do you think of the food? He's like, it's salty, hey. And he's like, you ever think about being a food critic?
You bastard.
He was like, I can just taste the food as you say it. And he's just being a complete smartass. But Tony is so stupid. He's like, yeah. Can you make money off of that? Like he's just a buffoon. So at this point, like it's just a situation of them going to different places. Again, he is trying to show Tony like how to be more refined. He's like, look, you know, you're going to meet some of the fanciest people in the country. Like, you're going to need to learn how to talk and maybe cut down on the profanity.
Don't embarrass me, nigga.
Yeah. I mean, what's ironic about this movie, in the part that I actually enjoyed, is it's presented as basically, in every other movie, Don Shirley would be the white man.
Yeah.
Right.
And Tony would be the black dude.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, hey, you don't know how to talk so good. You don't know what you're doing in these environments, yada, yada, yada. And so they flip that.
Yeah.
I get it. It's
If anything, it's a magical white man movie instead of a
Magical
magical
Negro.
Negro movie.
I suppose, yeah. I suppose. You
I
could
wouldn't necessarily-
make that argument before I would make the white savior argument.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was knocking back that Cuddy Sark though.
Yeah, he was.
You ever had that shit?
No.
Man.
Rough.
You, Micah?
Not recently, no.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the fuck.
I
it is.
know you're back on the wagon and all.
After doing marijuana.
I mean, I did that marijuana leaf
After
in
your Jamaica
Jamaica.
escapades.
Sniffed a leaf. Jesus
Yeah, that
Christ.
shit is rough, man. I had some shit when I was like fucking like 16. Yeah, it's like, whoa.
No, thank you.
Yo.
Like, you're better than this, Dr. Shirley. So then while we're on the road, like, they're dealing with, I mean, so much of this is just like beat after beat of comedy, which is really kind of, now that I think about it, is really kind of annoying to read about.
It's like one thing that annoyed me with this film is it just felt like a racism road trip, right? Like let's go to the next stop and see what kind of racism we have here. Let's go to this stop and see. Hey, everybody, let's learn what a sundown town is.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, let's show that black people can be ignorant towards black people too. Hey, everybody, let's go and show that white people are just like black people, and they're just like it felt like the tunnel of racism at some weird fucked up theme park.
Disney World.
And it doesn't
It feels like a very Disney approach to racism.
Yeah,
it does.
And it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe I was looking for something a little more complex. I mean, maybe this relationship wasn't that complex. Maybe this relationship is like this. According to the family, it wasn't. According to the family, their relationship was employer to employee, and they didn't get along and all that. You know, they weren't buddy, right? But according to the family, they were friends for decades.
Yeah, I got a black friend.
So
Yeah,
I
mean,
don't know. I'd be very curious to find out what the truth
I bet
is.
both of those perspectives are correct.
It's somewhere in the middle.
I bet that to Don Shirley, it was very much employer to employee.
Yeah.
And I bet to Tony Villalobos, he's like, hey, I got this really virtuoso black friend.
Yeah.
Hey, like, we hang out. And he's like, nah, yo, you drive this nigga. Like,
Right.
We're not friends.
It's amazing how two people could be in the same conversation and see things so totally differently.
One of them is lying, Micah. They made the whole thing up. The whole cloth. We should all never get along again.
I like how Tony out here.
And it was definitely the one who's not the white man.
Look at Tony out here shooting craps with the help.
Yeah. He was out here, getting it. Hey, I'm just trying to make a couple of bucks. They have a situation where they stop at a roadside place.
It's still
And they're selling like gems or just, fanciful stones. And Tony sees one of them laying on the ground with all these other regular rocks. So he picks it up and puts it in his pocket. That fucking Kraut sold him out and told Don Shirley that he stole it. I would argue he didn't steal it. That rock wanted to be there. And that's how the world works.
The fact he kept calling him Kraut was so stupid because it came from the fact of he heard them speaking Russian.
Yeah.
So, hey, was that German? No, it was Russian. Yeah. I was up in Germany. I just told you it was fucking Russian.
Yeah, he
man.
wasn't listening at all. He's like, I knew a little bit of what you were saying. Like, no, nigga, you did not. You didn't. But again, it's a tour de force of it's a small racist world.
Yeah.
With jokes.
We're all racists after all.
Yeah, like-
that's what should be playing right now.
It's the fucking Avenue Q song, right? Like, like it's just it really is.
Alabama, Mississippi.
So
He was really mad about that fucking rock too.
yeah, and he was like,
Take
yo,
it back.
he's like, you're fucking ruining it. I was stealing that rock from my wife. Hey, I'm just a poor white guy. Oh, my life is so hard. Racism against Italians. And so yeah, Don Shirley was like, yo, you stole that fucking rock. Put it back. And so he's like, all right, I'm gonna put it back. Which, come to find out later, he fucking lied. He didn't put it back. He kept it. And Don Shirley knew he didn't put it back,
Yeah.
which is funny. So, I always enjoy watching Mahershala Ali treat a white man like he ain't shit. That part, I thoroughly enjoyed. Like just treating this motherfucker like he ain't shit.
Mahershala Ali can give a nice dressing down to a white man. It's very.
I'd pay good money to watch that for 2 hours. So if he wants to play that role again, that's fine. I hope he has a white sidekick that he just shits on in Blade.
Here we are in Indiana.
Shut up, nigga.
Let Viggo Mortensen be Whistler. Let these two characters be Blade and Whistler.
You know what? I'm actually fine with. They have great chemistry. Fucking why not?
Hey, Blade, we got the new. No, back to that. Hey, you want this?
Hey, Blade! It's time to go outside. Hey, don't leave without me. What the fuck?
Let Blade be uppity, just like this nigga.
Blade has never had fried chicken before.
Like, no, I asked for the silver bullets, not the green ones.
Yeah, like
Tony.
You know what? I actually kind of would like him to play because he's a smooth motherfucker in this movie.
Yeah,
like he don't get too stressed about anything except for a couple of little times. But yeah, he's just like,
you know what? Some motherfuckers are always trying to skate up.
just deliver it as cool as fucking ice, man. Fuck it.
Oh wait, you can't skip the piano.
Oh yeah, this is the part where.
Woo.
So they go to play. I think they're in. I want to say
Indiana.
And they go, and the guy's like, he has been Tony has been told that Don Shirley only plays on a Steinway piano, right? A specific Steinway piano. And so when he gets to the show to make sure everything's set up, he's like, yo, this is not a Steinway. So like this white guy setting shit up.
There's shit trash in there and shit.
Yeah, he was like, like who cares? It's all the same.
Coons will play whatever you play.
Exactly.
I was like, yo, that's wild.
Again, just casual racism. He ain't do nothing to you. What the fuck?
Right, like why you gotta, like you ain't even met this dude.
I mean, but that shit happened though, right? Like,
100%.
That's how white people talk to each other about black people, right? Because we do it with white people, so I wouldn't imagine that.
Right, like it's not a one way street. Like,
right,
hey, he can play on that piano. White people can play it. Yeah, whatever. They be fucking. Oh, give him whatever oboe you got. Who cares? They love the oboe or whatever we would say. What's a white people instrument?
Clarinet.
Yeah. No, but we rock the clarinet like in New Orleans. Yeah, we fucked that up.
Yeah.
We can't give them that.
Take a look. No. Pan flute.
The pan.
Harmonica. No, because both black people.
We fucked that up too.
God damn, we're
talented as shit.
Yeah, we are. Not tubas, nothing brass, right?
No,
nothing brass, no percussion.
No.
Harp.
Yeah.
That's probably it.
The only harpist I know is a white guy. Yeah.
I'll tell you, pan flute.
Yeah. But like, look. No, I wanted a Steinway harp. Look, this is a regular harp. You'll be fine.
Anybody fuck with damn fair?
This is So yeah, the guy's like, no, fuck you. I'm not gonna get him this Steinway. Don't talk to me like that. No, he smacked the shit out of that guy. He just like he hit him in the side of the head. It's like, fuck out of here. That guy was like, oh shit. And you saw that Steinway made it onto that stage. He was like, this is a perfect piano. It's all cleared out. Yeah, like, in fairness, Tony came through. So, good for him.
Yeah, he's learning that black people are just people.
Yeah. And that they have things that they want and things that they don't want.
Slap the shit out of them.
Just like the whites. Yeah, I'd have cried too. So they make it over to Cedar Rapids, Ohio. Cedar Rapids, Iowa. They're playing, and it's like everything is going fine, right? Like there's a little bit of bullshit, but they're going fine. Before they get there, they're in Kentucky, and Tony's like, what are the chances of getting Kentucky Fried Chicken in Kentucky? Probably 100%.
It's amazing what stupid people are amazed by. Yeah.
Simple mind, simple pleasures. Like, yeah, he's like, it's fresher down here. You think? Like, yeah, it's fresher. Right. Nigga, they just threw a yard bird in some hot oil. Just relax.
Popeyes or KFC?
Popeyes. 100%.
Neither.
Look, if you gotta choose.
No, you gotta choose.
When back in the day, you eating fucked up shit like the rest of us.
Oh God.
You gonna take Popeyes crispy chicken or KFC wet chicken?
I'm gonna take Popeyes because KFC is gross.
You're fucking up, man.
No, KFC is fucking gross, dude.
KFC till the day I goddamn die.
KFC
which will probably be next week if you keep eating.
I had me a mashed potato bowl with it. Fuck it.
Oh, the sadness bowl. You just put like corn, mashed potatoes, chicken nuggets in it, and gravy. What kind of lazy trough type food is that? Nigga, they feeding you like a goddamn horse. Grow up, yo. Get a plate.
That's what I do with my baby son, yo. I just put a bunch of shit in a bowl and then just feed him whatever.
You know why? Because he's not jaded with bullshit. He knows what good stuff is.
Nah. I would take Popeyes.
Oh, man.
Now, biscuits, I would probably take a KFC biscuit.
No. You take the goddamn Popeyes biscuit.
No, yo, you can't.
Popeyes
You need a gallon of water.
And Popeyes biscuits are hockey pucks, man.
But apparently we're way behind the curve because like down south churches is like the shit.
Yeah, we don't have churches up here.
Yo, that's the thing, right? Like down south and out west of where they have good food, and southwest of where they have good food.
Yeah,
the Mid Atlantic and the Northeast don't have good food. Dunkin' Donuts is terrible. It is
like fast food. You mean?
Yeah, fast food. We don't have good fast food. Dunkin' Donuts is just the worst donut I've ever had in my entire life.
I like Dunkin' Donuts.
They're gross.
Yeah, I don't mind them.
I haven't had. What's the other one? Duck Donuts.
Fuck those.
Duck Donuts are good, but
they feel like too much.
You can only eat one. If you eat more than one, you're gonna die.
Yeah,
your heart will explode and you will die.
Yeah, I could eat 30 Dunkin' Donuts.
I gotta cut a duck donut up and eat it like in Seinfeld. Eat it with a knife and fork,
like
I
a cake.
Pace myself.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. All right, let's move quickly ahead because I don't want to.
He's not teaching him how to eat fried chicken, guys.
No, he's
telling him,
he's really
hey,
not.
Try this fried chicken.
Yeah, which you should try fried chicken. What the fuck?
It's from your people, yo. It's from your people.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of stereotyping of what Tony sees as black people activities. And look, if you watch this movie and you're a white person, you go, well, that's really fucked up. Then make sure that you never utter these words. I'm blacker than you are to your black friend. Because that is literally what Tony is doing.
Yeah.
And I have heard numerous white people say it. Numerous. And they think it's really funny or an interesting comment.
I'm down.
It's not.
No, you're not. You sound stupid. You might get
No,
fucked up.
because every time you say that, all you're doing is pointing to black stereotypes and saying, this is how black people act.
Right.
That's all it is. No one's like, I'm blacker than you. I'm very well versed in Ta-Nehisi Coates' theory on reparations. Right. That is never what the conversation is about.
Right.
It's about eating chicken or
I love watermelon.
Right. Yeah, or rap music or something like that. Like, but
on the other side too, how do we reconcile? I mean, we're probably not. How do we reconcile black gatekeeping, black checking amongst ourselves?
Stop it.
Yeah, knock it off.
Yeah,
just knock it off. I mean, as far as to white people or to black people?
To black people. Maybe even to white people to certain
No,
extent.
we should gatekeep blackness from white people. Fuck them.
No.
Sorry. This gate is closed. I'm okay with that. To black people, yeah, I don't care for that. Right. Like I don't think there is one way to be black. I mean, a lot of the comments that we get on YouTube are that you guys aren't black because you don't like a certain movie or you didn't agree with a certain thing. I think those are stupid. I think that's very childish to me. But I also didn't grow up in a world where I was pigeonholed into stereotypes.
Right.
Like I just wasn't. My parents allowed me to be a human being. So like I gravitated towards what I liked. So no, I think you have to stop that. I think you have to stop trying to hold a box around what blackness is and telling people that if they don't fit into that box, then they are excluded from that conversation. That also being said, though, people who just disrespect being while being black, just disrespecting black people as a whole, like black people ain't shit type of thing, like black Republicans, I would argue. I don't think you necessarily gatekeep them from saying that they're black, but I think you call them out for their bullshit.
Yeah, I don't think I've. I know I haven't ran into it being an adult, but I definitely ran into it as a kid a couple of times, especially once I moved out of state on a more permanent basis. So when I would come back to visit, oh, you sound white, yo.
Yeah.
You reading comic books? That's that white boy shit.
Yeah.
You're on a skateboard? Like, word? Really?
No, but that's true.
Yeah, I mean,
come on.
Fuck you.
Tony Hawk ain't black. So, yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, those are silly. And, you know, when people say, oh, I do these things that black people do or not doing things that quote-unquote black people do, I always look at it like, whatever I'm doing is what a black person's doing because I'm doing it. If I go skiing, that's a black person skiing. Right. Poorly, but that's a black person skiing. Right? So, no, those, like, if I want to learn how to do hang gliding or surfing or whatever, those are black activities because I'm black.
No, you know that white shit, yo. You crazy.
Yeah, well,
all right.
I don't believe in living my life being stuck on a stoop somewhere. I don't. And I mean that metaphorically. I don't mean that literally. Like, just being stuck, never moving and never trying anything else because I've been told that these things are not what black people do. Fuck that.
Yeah, I mean, luckily,
I don't believe in that.
Luckily, I grew up in a family, and like I looked up and found some friends that were kind of the same ilk. Was just like we just tried any fucking thing. Like, we didn't give a shit. There was no box like we can only do this. We can only go here. Like, yo, we're going.
Right. And you grew up in a military family.
Yeah.
Right. So and you also lived overseas, which also helps.
Well,
too.
I was overseas. I was like mad young. I barely remember that shit.
Oh, okay. But what about you, Micah? You only do black shit.
Yeah, because everything I do is black. Because I'm black.
That's it. Not trying to be black. Black is what I am. To quote Carlton from The Fresh Prince. All right. I just want to move along because I'm really sick of this movie already. We meet some black people at a hotel, one that was recommended by the Green Book, and they're really mad that that he was being too uppity, that he didn't want to play horseshoes. And so then that's where we learn that black people can be mean to black people too.
Hell of a horseshoe game.
Yeah. Then Tony gets woken up and brought down to a bar where these white boys in Kentucky are beating up Don Shirley just because he's black in their fucking town. So I assume that probably really did happen.
I mean, I would think so.
Yeah.
You know,
that's not worth lying about. Really, right. Well, if you do, you're an asshole. And Tony, quote unquote, saves him by pretending to have a gun. And they're like, all right, you can get out of here.
He was lying about pretending to have a gun.
Yeah. Oh, he's a bullshit artist, right? He's the greatest bullshit artist.
Pump a fucking hole in that motherfucker.
So I'm gonna skip ahead again. It's like a small world.
This is where you know this is a white savior. He's telling him he had to save him, and he's telling him that he can't go anywhere without him, and all that. And
yeah, he's trying to protect him.
That's the excuse, right? And,
but what's he supposed to do? He's trying to protect this guy.
I don't see that. I don't see that. So.
Yeah, it's a little weird. To me, I get the argument. I just don't agree with it. At one point, we see Dr. Shirley helping Tony write a letter to his wife, which again is play for laughs. Like there's, I was just watching this video talking about bathos, right? Which is like the idea of taking serious scenes and then undercutting them with comedy. This entire movie is like that, right? Like it's. Serious undercut. But is
that a good thing when you talk about something like racism? Something that is
no, I'm not saying bathos is good. I think it's too much.
Okay, yeah, because this is not when you have something serious but then undercut it with comedy, it makes it less serious. Like that is by its nature what it's doing, and
it's on purpose.
And some things need to be serious.
Yeah, I think it's fine in doses. You had to be very, very...
Yeah, you got to be very selective
when you want to drop it in. Some shit just needs to sit with you and just let motherfuckers deal with it.
Right. Like this whole, fried chicken scene being brought out, brought out in this fanciful way, right? Like, all right, I get the joke, but like it's played for laughs, but at the same time, nigga, that's kind of offensive, yo.
Yeah.
Like Shirley was expecting, he's used to the finer things, man.
Right.
I don't know. It's like if you were going to the White House, home of that employs some of the best chefs in the world, and the leader of the free world hands you a fucking Big Mac. Come on, yo.
Hamburgers, I believe they're referred to.
But come on, man. That's not. It's insulting.
Dignity aside, yo, that fucking platter of chicken and corn, fucking corn. Yo, what the fuck? Y'all had to hang me tonight because what the fuck is this bullshit?
They were like, here you go, buddy. You cool with it?
Chuck that shit across the goddamn table.
Yeah, so I mean, there's just a number of it's a small world kind of racism. Then we get a scene where they're in another town, and it's like, what kind of discrimination can Don Shirley trip and fumble into this time? And he gets arrested or handcuffed because he is having sex.
Lewd behavior.
Yeah, lewd behavior. Having sex with a man in a YMCA bathhouse. This is the part where Don Shirley's family is like, that's not true. He definitely wasn't gay. Okay. They're, I believe, Jamaican immigrants. Sorry. I'm hard pressed to believe that you would be willing to accept that. Like, I just am.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's not true. Seems like a wild thing to be dishonest about.
When I went to, they were Jamaican immigrants?
I believe he is a Jamaican immigrant. Yeah.
When I went to Jamaica, when I took that picture of the horse and the slave holding the two horses, he wasn't a slave, guys. This one of the guys.
Yes, they were. His family was Jamaican immigrants.
One of the guides picked this flower and he said, "What does it look like?" And it looked like, lady parts, right? It looked like a flower that looked like lady parts. And I was like, "Oh shit!" And we started talking, and then the conversation turned to homophobia. And it was just like,
Jamaicans are mad homophobic.
Yeah, and I was just like,
"Oh,
I don't want to have this conversation."
I feel uncomfortable. It's not paradise.
I was like, God damn.
Was it Bati Boy? Like,
Yeah. What tour is this? What tour?
the fuck we at? Yo? It's like
change over at a certain time, like 2:00. Did it go to this?
There's nothing worse, by the way, than people bringing you into their own like racism, sexism, or homophobia because you feel mad uncomfortable because you don't know them. You're like, and they're like, "Am I right?" And you're like,
"Right? You hear me? Yeah. No.
I don't know where I'm at. I don't know how I got here.
Oh, you ain't on the resort. You've been outside of that gate. Nah, you don't fuck that up. Then we asked that. You in a world of trouble. Yeah, those people are the worst. Take me back to the resort.
All I just envisioned just now was dude just going to his tirade. Michael's shades on. She's like,
Yeah, I like. That's why I don't talk. That, by the way, that is my number one reason why I don't really talk to people standing in line at like stores.
I hate that
because they're like if white people do this all the time. They'll be standing in line in a store, and like if the cashier is too slow or something like that, and they're a black person or a person of color,
foreign,
right? And or you're foreign especially, and they're just like. They look at you like, these immigrants, and I'm like, don't do that. I'm not a part of your shit.
I don't want to talk to you.
Like, don't
talk to you. Get away from me.
Like, I will purposely, like, especially if it's somebody who I see is like foreign born or whatever, and people are like, these white people start huffing. They start like huffing and puffing, making noises and shit. I'll be like, you're doing a great job. You're awesome. Like, I'm like, don't add me into your racism or your phobias. I don't want anything to do with it.
I almost got into a fight over that bullshit like maybe
don't
2
do
years
that.
ago.
Hate
in a Chinese spot. A dude that fucking yelling at the chick behind the counter. Yeah, why don't you fucking learn how to speak English and shit? They're gonna try to turn to me and be like, yeah, man, know what the fuck I'm saying? Like, nah,
nigga, I don't.
Like, I don't. Yo, why don't you leave me the fuck alone so she can make the goddamn orders?
Like, nah, I don't want my food
mind your
spinning.
motherfucking business. Like, you fucking talk to me, nigga. Fuck you. And it kind of.
That's wild. My job is, nigga, I was sitting here.
Yeah.
What the fuck did I do? You turned around.
Homegirl's like, hey, come on, Dora. Like, man, shit. God damn it, get my egg roll.
You get ready to fight somebody at 3:00 in the morning over a goddamn, sour chicken. Like, knock it off. So again, they go to another event. One white guy's like, look, we ain't letting you use the bathroom. And Don Shirley was like, that's cool. You're going to have to wait until I go back to my hotel room. That'll be about 30 minutes. And then white guy was like, we'll wait.
Like, I would have came back. Fuck that.
Nope.
Fuck that contract.
Fuck you. Absolutely. So then we get a scene of they're in town. They basically get a sundown town, and they get arrested because he had his black ass out after dark. And the cop said something, and Tony fucking punched that nigga out.
You know what he said?
Yeah.
He said, who are you? He said, what's your name? He said, Tony Villalonga. He was like, oh, that's why you're mad. You're half a nigga anyway.
And then he was just like, punch his ass out. And so, in savior mode, they get locked up in this hillbilly ass jail. And Don Shirley gets his one phone call. And he fucking calls Bobby Kennedy.
Apparently, this did happen.
I believe that
thing did happen. It didn't happen during
that tour.
this tour, but during another tour, it did happen, and he did have to call Bobby Kennedy to help get him out of jail.
That's a dope ass fucking phone call.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna just call the president's brother, the Attorney General of the United States.
Yeah.
And so Bobby Kennedy called the governor of whatever fucking backwoods state they were in, and got him the fuck out of there. It's like, but people don't see that as a savior moment. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I need people to just keep the same energy between two things. If him saving him in the bar is a savior moment, him calling the president's brother is a bigger savior moment.
Right.
Like, it's almost damn near a magical Negro moment that he had the power to do that.
Yeah.
So,
Cloche. That's the name of that fucking thing. Sorry.
oh, the thing where it's like fried chicken.
And
Yeah.
this one scene right here where he's getting on Tony about punching a cop. This is the one part that did get under my skin a little bit, which is another reason why I think the movie did so well with all the accolades and people giving them the nominations, was that he was basically telling them dignity will always win.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't fuck nobody
stay
up.
in your lane.
Right.
Stay in your lane and keep your, just keep grinding and you'll do it. Don't make waves. Don't protest.
Right.
Don't
something like that.
rabble rouse.
Yeah, I'm all for being diplomatic and trying to talk things out, but no, sometimes some people need to
Sometimes niggas need to
throat.
just get mad, yo.
Yeah. Somebody need their face put through a wall. It just is what it is.
Yeah, look, you should, turn the cheek when you can. And then sometimes, you got to give them a couple of civil lefts and rights. Yeah. Like, it is what it is. Look, sometimes a Klansman's got to get his ass kicked
I'm gonna say this
to
shit,
just
like,
know it's true.
I don't know what to say. It's like, yeah, I may turn the cheek, but when I come back around, motherfucker.
Yeah, like, come on now. So they're at their last venue. It's right before Christmas, and they're having dinner. It's Tony Villalonga and the other two guys, the Kraut and the general white guy, and they won't let Don Shirley sit and have dinner there, even though he is performing there. Mm. The level of racism from some white people is extraordinary. You can play for us. We're going to treat you like gold. But you can't sit and eat.
Well, gold dish.
Gold dish.
Once you come out,
gold plated.
The storeroom, dressing room we gave you.
Yeah, because they see him as nothing more than a novelty act. Yeah, right. Like, they see him as
even though he is a virtuoso, he's not just like some cheap,
I think they see him like see shit like that as like an animal act.
Yeah, like can you believe
like a trained monkey?
Can you believe this monkey can play the piano?
Right, and well,
better than any of y'all.
Right. Yeah, it's just I just find that level of bigotry to be astounding. Yeah. Like, wow, man, that is incredible.
Did we pass the scene in the rain yet?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
That scene is probably the best scene in the film.
Yeah. It's the scene that makes the movie,
and it brings
everything together.
Yeah, they
that's where Mahershala Ali earned that Oscar.
Yeah, it does what most conflicts can be resolved by just having a frank and honest conversation and not just having a conversation, not just talking, but actually really listening. Right. Like, that's the part that people forget about, right? Like, everyone says, oh, we need to have a conversation about race. We need to have a conversation about race. Yeah, we do. But it has to be an actual conversation. And I know,
you're about to get yourself in trouble now.
YouTubers about to call me all kinds of Uncle Tom.
Oh, you cool. Yeah. Right? They're going to run your ass right off on Thanksgiving.
But guess what? Part of having that race discussion, you have to listen to white people. You do. You have to listen to their point of view on things so that you can correct them. You have to know how they think. You just can't be like...
You can't talk at
somebody. Muffins want to yell out into the ether and shut the fuck up. I'm yelling right now.
Yeah, I don't... I know that feels good. Like, it feels good to do that. Just be like, get it all out and just be like, this is why we feel the way we do. And it's true. It's true. It does feel good. But that's not a conversation.
Right.
It's not a conversation.
Right. Yeah. Like, and look, white people always talk. They always talk, right? but nobody's listening. Everybody's talking, nobody's listening.
That's right.
And I think us as black people have been muzzled so that we can't talk. That it's like coming home from a long, like that Chris Rock act, right? Coming home from a long day at work, and as soon as you step your foot in the door, your wife is like, right? Because she's had no one to vent to all day. And that's what black people feel like, right? Like white people, you got to understand that's what we feel like, right? Because of fucking systemic racism.
Yeah.
But
you don't get a break.
Right. But at the same time, right? Like you got to listen to what white people have to say. And you have to listen to what white people have to say on the opinion, even if it doesn't jive with what you think you want to hear right now.
And by the way,
have hard conversations.
Right.
Man.
By the way,
it's
definitely going to be a lot of shit you don't agree with.
Yeah, man. Like, you know, we don't
have to acquiesce to it. But
exactly. Right. I'm not saying you got to bow to it. I'm not saying but you got to hear it.
But also, my thing too is also to know who to fucking let have the wrath. A lot of times, especially on these groups and things, I find, especially where it's like, liberal whites, liberal blacks, whatever, kind of come together. I see a lot of motherfuckers catch hell for meaning well, but maybe not having the exact right verbiage or the exact point of view.
Yeah, that's worthless.
Yeah, it's one thing to be dealing with somebody that don't give a fuck about you. Fuck you, nigga. Hope you go die. All right, yeah, let that motherfucker have the wrath. It's another thing to have somebody that's like, okay, well, I got this part, but I don't quite understand this.
Right.
Like,
well, it's a machine gun approach. Right. You are you're just like everybody gets it, and it's like, I get that, and I get why you feel like that, because there's certainly days that I feel like that, right? Where I'm like, yo, please don't. Like,
I don't want to hear it.
I don't want to fucking hear it. Like, I just don't. There are certain days I'm like reading shit online. I'm like, yo, white people are getting on my fucking nerves. like legitimately. But you also have to realize, in order to move forward, you have to, like Micah said, you have to be able to listen. You have to. Look, one of the great things in all the last 8 to 12 years, we've forgotten a lot of things, right? A lot of things have happened over the last 12 years that have been really significant. One thing I would ask people to do, go back and listen to that fucking race speech that Obama wrote himself and gave when he was running for president. That was a conversation. He was literally writing basically both sides of a conversation. He talked about what he dealt with, what black people have dealt with in this country, what his grandparents who were white and how they saw the world, and how he dealt with them seeing the world. He was actually talking about a conversation about it.
Right.
And I know it was a real conversation and a mark out of a real conversation, because both black people and white people were both mad. They were both mad, right? Yeah. That's how you know he hit in the middle, right? Because white people were like, you can't say white people are racist. And black people were like, you can't say that we're racist against you like that. And they weren't, because they weren't actually listening to the conversation that he was having. Right. But that's how you know he marked out that conversation, because he hit it right where it needed to be hit. And he was talking about real hard conversations. Right. Because look, poor white people don't want to hear some shit about white privilege. They're eating dirt in the fucking Midwest. But they don't understand what it is. Right. So if you just yelling at them like, yes, we have white privilege, and then shut the door and walk the fuck out, no one has learned anything. Right. No one has learned anything. And by the way, if you're a black person, you're saying they have white privilege, you're correct. You're absolutely correct. And them not listening is absolutely wrong. But you have to have the conversation. If you're not willing to have the conversation on both sides. Right. Because white people don't want to have it either.
You gotta be willing to listen, man.
If they're not listening, like, fuck them. They're not listening.
Right. There's nothing you can do.
But if they're willing to say, all right, what the hell are you talking about?
Then you gotta
don't
talk.
Keep yelling, fuck that. I ain't explain shit to you. I got time for that shit.
Right. And I hate that shit too.
I see that all the time.
I shouldn't have to tell you. Yeah. Like, well, if this person is asking, they might be in. Look it up.
But
don't do that.
But people like that, I understand where they come from. But
I get why you're mad.
For me, I just say, you know what? I understand why you're mad. I understand where you're coming from. Do me a favor. Sit this one out, because you're not emotionally mature enough to have this conversation right now. Sit this one out, hang out on the side, let everybody else do the fucking talking.
Right. And look, and I'm not pretending like I'm always the person who wants to do that either. Right. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't feel like
I know when to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, sometimes I just don't want to.
This isn't about respectability. It's about fucking listening. Like, because I know that's going to get thrown in my face too. Yeah. This ain't about respectability. It's about it's about actually really wanting people to get along.
I think some people fundamentally don't want to, but they also don't want to admit it.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they don't want to admit it. They want it to be hostile because that's what they're used to, and I don't think that's how the world has to be. it's easy to continue that because that's just what it is, but it doesn't have to always be that way.
Right.
But this conversation in the rain is what makes the movie.
Yeah, it's a fucked up situation that he's in, though. You think about, like, he's black, so American racism, boom. Then you're kind of sophisticated, a little bit more refined, so quote unquote, you're not going to fit in with the quote unquote black
The
crowd
average
there.
black person in America. Right.
And on top of that, you're allegedly gay. So, like you said, where the fuck do I fit in that?
Yeah, where am I supposed to be? And him saying that to Tony, I can understand why people may possibly not get the significance of that because they're only looking at from what he's saying on the surface. Right. But the other side of that is Tony very much knows where he exists in the world. Because as a straight white guy, an Italian with with all the privileges that come with that, he knows where he is in the world. There is no question of where he is. Right. He is a white man. Even though he is one of the lowest white men in this country, he is still higher than him.
Yeah.
Even with all of this guy's education and being a doctor and everything else that he has going for him, by all measures, he is a more accomplished person. Right. But at the end of the day, Tony can put a suit on and sit his ass in that building and eat with white people of a respectable nature and all this other shit, where Shirley has to conversely go to an outhouse.
Eat in a broom closet and piss in an outhouse.
Right.
Because it's tradition. It's just how things are done here.
Right.
Like, all right, yo.
Yeah, that's not an answer.
Off,
it's actually not an answer. So
and Tony will put that motherfucker through that wall, though.
Yeah, pretty much. So they eventually leave that place after they won't let him eat there. They go to this little dive bar, fucking Don Shirley was like, look, let me get up on that piano for a hot minute. He does the whiskey on the piano, and he gets up there, he plays the upright piano, and fucking tears that shit up because he's a fucking virtuoso, and black people are talented as shit. And they got black people in there, getting down and having a good time.
The juke joint.
I mean, that really did look like they were having a good time. Like,
I'm not gonna lie. Like, yes, I love to see black people doing big things in concert halls and shit like this. But I'd rather be there.
That second set. Yeah,
I'd rather be here.
Yeah, I'd much rather listen to that second set.
Yeah, they out there. You got a fucking saxophone player. There's a dude on a guitar. There's whiskey. There's probably fried chicken in the back. Come on, man. Like that's just a good ass time. And this nigga is playing in tails. He's playing in tails, tearing the shit up. But proving that Don Shirley, again, like you had said in the beginning, like he doesn't learn anything from Tony. He just appreciates the fact of just being a little bit more open as himself.
Right. Like people made me mad. Like, well, the white man is teaching him jazz. Like, no, he didn't, yo.
No, he didn't listen to that music
because he didn't listen to Chubby Checker and he didn't listen to Little Richard.
And if you pay attention, he said he knew some of the names. He just never fucked with the music.
He just never listened to the music. It just wasn't his type of music that he listened to. So but to think that, all right, yo, all right.
He taught him how to play. No, he really fucking didn't. So, yeah, that was some wild shit.
And then Tony pull out the pistol.
Yeah, you gotta bust. Yeah, I guess they were getting ready to rob him or something.
Yeah, they gave him the evil eye at the bar. It was like,
at the bar, Don Shirley pulled out a wad of 20s in 1962.
They about to rob your ass.
It was like, yo, what are you doing, yo?
It was like, yo, take it easy. But I mean, look, I know that weirdly, people make the argument of like him not knowing about these things is like, why is he showing him like not to pull out his wallet and stuff like that? And it's like seeing it as a black white thing. I see it as a class thing. Yo, you take a rich black person into the fucking hood, they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Exactly.
Like it's no different. Take a rich white person. You think if the roles were reversed, a rich white person playing down in Welcome to the Orange Bird, they not gonna know.
It's fish out of water, but it applies across the board. It's not a white.
It's not a white. Yeah, it's a class thing, right? And Tony just had to bust a couple shots in there and make sure these niggas knew.
Like you in R&B music, that's why you keep me close.
Right, so you can teach me about all this, fucking shake dance music that you people listen to. They eventually make their way back to New York. They get pulled over by another white cop.
This is where racism starts to end.
Yeah, and
shit!
Just as they cross the border into the north,
just as they cross the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah, that cop was like, "You're all right with me, nigger. Get out of here." Which thank God for that.
Like, come on, yo.
That's a very Disney-fied, very childish view of racism. But whatever.
Those are the issues that I have with the movie, right?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. That's silly.
I ain't gonna lie. I was like, God damn, he about to get fucked up again. Yo, he was taking some ass whoopings in this movie.
Oh yeah, no, he was.
Shit.
He gonna kill a lot of white people in Blade. He's like, no, I got something for y'all ass. He's like, I want only white vampires. I'll be back. So Christmas time, Tony and Don, they part ways. Tony comes home, everybody is happy. His wife is like, ooh, boy, I read them letters. Oh shit. I'm about to give you all the business. And then they're all sitting around dinner and they're like, oh, gabagool, fucking salami, pasta majou, whatever.
That's wildly inappropriate.
I mean,
I thought you were about to say accurate because I was about to agree with you.
Yeah, like, oh, what about the meatballs? Cannolis. Put the meatball in the cannoli. I don't know what it means. Who gives a shit?
Let's get the fuck out of here.
I mean, that's basically.
I thought one just broke in. Goddamn.
It's like a random Italian plumber comes straight through. So two other Italian people who run the local pawn shop, they show up and they're like, hey, bada bing, hey, Tony Soprano,
Hey.
Hey, and they come in and everybody's happy. It's like, hey, more Italians. Hey, all right. And then all of a sudden, Tony goes to close the door and he spots a black man.
He's like, nigga, where my money?
Yeah, and he was like, oh, shit, what do you guys do in my neighborhood? And Dr. Shirley comes to see him, and Dr. Shirley is lonely because it's Christmas time and he doesn't have a lot of friends.
He has a bottle of Manischewitz.
And he was like, hey, I brought some liquor, and all the white people are like, the fuck? and then
record stretch, yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they were like, get this man a table. Hey, we're all over racism.
It's Olive Garden when you're here, your family. Like, all right.
Your black ass over here.
All right.
Hey.
All right.
That
All
fucking
right.
leather.
I want to know what that father was thinking. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, he was
I'm
like,
fine with the scene as long as you tell me what the father was
he
thinking.
was like, unlimited breadsticks, not for you. Not for you. Yeah, get the fucking bullion ass out of here. Yeah, get the
I
fuck
don't
out
like
of
colors, but I fucking like you.
here. You different. Oh, really? Me? Just me? No other black people?
You're different because you're famous.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yep.
That's about it.
Can you play basketball?
Right. Yeah,
Are you an athlete?
I mean that's kind of the funny thing about like my wife's family, like her white side of the family, were like, oh, when her mom brought her dad home because he's Indian and he's very brown, and they were like, it was like he's a surgeon, and they were like, hey, come on in, it's fine. Yeah, okay, we get it.
Right.
Yeah, like, what are you doing here? I'm more educated and I do better than all of you. Hey, welcome to the family. Like, God damn it. All right, that is it for us. That is Green Book, episode 167. We will be back next week with a preview episode for 168. See you next time.
See ya.
That's the more day.
It's me.
I don't know. What is it? Fucking Chef Boyardee? I don't know. You're watching the Black on Black Cinema YouTube channel. Make sure you check out our full reviews of black movies, past and present. And every other week, we do a preview episode where we talk about a random topic that affects the black community.